Hey loves, it's Claudia and welcome back to the vlog. I will start by saying I didn't get a chance to film anything yesterday. So September 10th zipped by with me working. I was editing, uploading several videos and one vlog, and I had been neglecting my Claudia's Universe channel. So I said, I can't do that anymore, Claudia. You've got to somehow, you've got to be better with your time so that one channel is not lacking and the other channel is going with all the videos. Oh my goodness. But I will say that I have been very productive today. I really have. Today I filmed 2 videos. I did a makeup look for this particular look for my main channel. Was I getting it or what? Even did my eyelashes, my wispies. After I filmed that makeup look, I filmed another video for my main channel dealing with spilling the tea. You'll have to go on over probably next week and see those, because I already have videos up and scheduled for my main channel, Claudia's Universe, for Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. I was doing it. And tonight I'm filming this vlog for September 11th. Let's take a moment of silence for today, September 11th, to remember our fellow Americans and others who passed in the horrific, passed in New York, Washington, and other places in the terroristic acts that happened September 11th in this country. I remember when I had a television, I would always see, I have a television now, but I just don't watch it. I'm doing so many other things, I just don't watch television. But when I had a television in my room and in the living room, I would see pictures of the memorials going up across the country for September 11th. I would see the planes going into the buildings, and I would experience that all over again. Because I even remember where I was on September 11th. I was in Lithonia watching the television as that happened, and I had just come off the road, out of the air myself, while I was working with the college board, and I was a college board consultant, and I would go out and teach teachers about the various services that the college board offered. And when the towers went down in New York, we were taken out of the air for a long time. I don't even remember continuing to work with them after that happened. We were out of the air so long, and I was flying in and out of the southern region, teaching teachers via this program with the college board for consultants. But after September 11th, that was it. God bless. Now, in this vlog, I am so excited to even think about Bookathon. I did not know there was such a thing as a Bookathon here on YouTube, but obviously there is. And with the Bookathon, what readers would do is try and complete the Bookathon in a week, in 7 days. I just found out about it yesterday. Yesterday I found out about this notion, and I think it happens either in August or, yeah, I think it's August. It might be September. I don't know. But it was enchanting, and I was like, this is quite amazing. Then I realized something else. Here on YouTube, I love certain channels. I don't venture out to other channels unless they're on my feed. And if I'm not interested in them, of course, you know, YouTube does not send them to your feed. I love makeup videos channels. I love makeup channels. I love fashion channels. I love couple channels. I love travel channels. But I don't know why I never thought of enjoying book channels. There are people on YouTube who have channels where they simply read books and tell their audience about the books that they read. Do I need to admit that until I would say 5 years ago, or maybe a little bit longer than that, I was a lifetime reader from the time I could put on some glasses, because I've worn glasses from a very early age. My lashes are hitting these glasses. From the time I could put on some glasses and read, I would pick up a book and read, and that's where you would find me, in a corner reading. And from my love of reading, I started writing, and I would write short stories, teenage novels, poetry, essays. I loved reading and writing, and that was my life. So of course, when I went to college, I studied English education and literature, and I left college and was, these lashes keep hitting my glasses, and I left college to become an English teacher, a literature teacher, and that's what I did for like 16 plus years until I didn't. So why did I stop reading as a lifelong reader? Why did I stop writing? I lost faith in both of them. Here's the video I've been promising myself I was going to upload. I've been hinting at this video for the longest, but tonight I'm filming it. How did I lose faith? I felt like, who was going to publish me? I had struggled for so long to get with a traditional publisher. It didn't happen. I published myself. I self-published. I felt proud about that. I was able to hold my books, pick them up, show them, but I wanted a traditional publisher. I was tired of wearing so many hats. When you're a self-publisher, you've got to market, you've got to edit, you've got to put the book together, everything, you do it yourself. And I think the whole notion of publishing is a team effort. Even if the team is a group of your writing friends. Yes, I had and have writing friends, but not to the point where they would sit down and work with me to edit my material and make sure it was ready to go to print, and just give me that time. And I was gung-ho about doing it myself, so I didn't ask them. Maybe I did ask, but I didn't get. People were involved with their own efforts for creating, and that wasn't a part of their agenda to pick up your yoke and run with that. So I had to count on myself, and then I started editing for other people. That had its delight to a certain extent, especially when you're getting paid, and I was getting paid, but I didn't love to do that. I didn't have a passion for editing other people and helping other people in that sense. I wanted to do my own writing. It's much like a makeup artist making up their own faces. I love to make up my own face, but I don't want to sit down and take a job all day making other people beautiful with makeup. I want to make myself beautiful with makeup, and that's it. And use my gift and talent and passion for makeup to make money for me digitally somehow. I don't know how. The universe will figure that out, but I want to be able to do that, so I do it. And the same thing with the writing. When it wasn't coming across for a traditional publisher, I just thought, why? What's the use? What's the use of sitting down, giving so much of yourself to writing? Writing takes so much energy and effort, and it's a lonely occupation. But I must say this, it is well worth it. And even over the years that I stopped writing, it was still there, nudging me and loving me and encouraging me to return to it. It was a very patient lover, and I would mention it in videos. I would say, okay, I'm a writer, but I stopped writing. It wasn't that other people gave up on me so much. It was that I gave up on myself, and that was the greatest hurt. But I released that. I can face it in this video and say I can own up to that, and I can embrace Claudia again and her art for writing and her love for writing and reading, and come back to myself. Everything in divine time. Tonight is that divine time. So on September 11th, I am not only remembering the towers and the victims and the people who left due to terrorism, but I'm remembering Claudia. I'm coming back to memorialize me in this day, in this night, and say, Claudia, you are worth it. Claudia, you can write. Claudia, you can read. Claudia, you can create characters and stories and themes, and you can do everything that you see other people do and you walked away from. You are back. I thank the universe. I am back tonight. So expect to see more videos dealing with my reading and writing, same as my makeup, same as my fashion sense, same as my photography, same as my dancing. I'm bringing all of Claudia to her universal stage here, and that's a promise to me. That's my promise tonight to Claudia. Now, let me say this. This might be a long video. This might be a long vlog. I went to YouTube to discover YouTube's BookTube. I'm like, BookTube? Wow, there's a BookTube on YouTube. Of course, Claudia, there's a BookTube on YouTube. You found them. Okay, so a bookathon. I went looking for the bookathon, and it says this one was published July 7th, 2017, and it said 2017 reading challenges. So this is somebody else's idea of reading challenges. All right, this somebody else is the channel BookTube-a-thon with 35,000 subscribers. And it says the 2017 reading challenges: 1, read a book with a person on the cover. 2, read a hyphened book. 3, finish a book in one day. 4, read about a character that is very different from you. 5, finish a book completely outdoors. 6, read a book you bought because of the cover. 7, read 7 books. This is so wonderful. And I learned also that TBR, the acronym TBR, means to be read. Your to be read pile. Guess what? My to be read pile includes all, can you see this? All of the books on my Kindle. Some I've read, some I haven't. I have hundreds of books on my Kindle. Look at this. At one point, I was simply buying books, Kindle books, and feeling so good that one day I would read them. That day rarely came around. Never came. Well, it did come around because I did finish several books recently, and I'll tell you about those. Look at all these books. These are books that fit my Kindle TBR, to be read pile. Now, check this out. These are my books, and I took some of them and used them for a tripod in my closet as I was filming. But these are books that I am going to read. Oh, stop swinging, tripod, stop swinging. These are books I'm going to read as well. I am incredibly excited. This tripod is giving me challenges. Now, tonight, I am sharing with you an anthology that my writing is in. This anthology is entitled Gaslight. I am so proud of Gaslight. I had been meaning to create a video on Gaslight for the longest. Let me go back to Bookathon. I think that's a wonderful idea to have a bookathon. I think it's a wonderful idea to have a readathon. It gets people reading, and I'm just amazed that people are doing this. When I came back to YouTube from having several channels, I thought, Claudia, you must bring all of your passions to the stage and create videos centered around your reading and writing. Never got around to it. It was always natural hair, which I love, makeup, poses, fashion. It's time to bring all of Claudia's passions to the stage. So, the bookathon and readathon, I'll say this. I am my own bookathon and readathon. I am going to be reading from now to the rest of the year and the years to come. I don't want to ever leave bookathon or readathon. I want to revert back to my time reading and talking about books and loving books and writing books. You can do anything you want to do. You just must believe in yourself. I believe in Claudia. I believe that whatever you want, if you visualize, create it, write it, focus, film it, read it, speak it, believe it, it will manifest. It will manifest. You know it because you're here with me and you heard me say it, and it's in this vlog. Now, we're going to turn that phone off and go back to my Kindle. In 2014, I was chosen to participate in the Lambda Literary's writing retreat. It was a magnanimous experience. I came together with other LGBT writers from across the states, and we may have had international writers there, but I came together with other LGBTQ writers, and we wrote and read and participated in workshops for 1 week in Los Angeles, California. It was amazing. Let me make sure it was fabulous. And this is the cover for that anthology. I don't know if you guys could see that. But with this first time on my vlog talking about reading and writing. This is the result of the Writers Retreat for Emerging LGBTQ Voices, is made possible in part by generous contribution by Amazon.com. Gaslight is Volume 1, Number 1, 2014, published once yearly in Los Angeles, California. Now, this is, oh my gosh, this book has writers who are simply amazing. You have writers who just made poetry sing and stand up and do things that would capture you, your heart and soul. You had storytellers who left you in awe. And I will share some of these writers with you tonight. Let me see. Gaslight. This says, note from the director, and the director at the time was Tony Valenzuela, but he's no longer the director today in 2018. Oh my gosh, this was in 2014, 4 years ago. 4 years ago. But Tony's first paragraph said, every summer during Lambda Literary's Writers Retreat for Emerging LGBTQ Voices, I'm humbled by the extraordinary talent and generous spirit of the incoming students. I'm also reminded how powerful and necessary it is to host an LGBTQ literary residency. To spend a week among queer writers talking about books and the writing process, listening to each other's work, deepening our understanding of craft, building community, and making new lifelong friends is a privilege and a rare gift, still vital in 2015. Lambda Literary founded its retreat in 2007 to give promising authors a leg up in a publishing industry constantly in flux, where it is still challenging to get books about lesbians, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer lives published. Selected through a highly competitive application process, the retreat draws talented writers from every region of the U.S., Canada, and around the globe. And I do remember, yes, I had a young lady in my writer's workshop, in the workshop I participated in with fiction. She was indeed from Canada. And there may have been another young lady in that workshop from Canada as well. But they were extraordinary. And for time's sake, I can't read the whole piece here, but I will go through and say, and this is a paragraph from the editor's, Jeffra's, yes, his editor's note. I met my 2014 Lambda Literary Emerging Voices cohort at the top of Los Angeles in the middle of summer, at the bottom of news. Israel had just begun its retaliatory assault on Gaza. My heart was heavy as I settled into my Berber carpeted dorm room, dropped my necessities and sat on my bed, wondering who would be bunking alongside me for this string of mysterious days. All I knew was that it would be a stranger. An LGBTQ stranger, who likes to write. What a collusion of stuff. Disaggregated violence and a queer with a pen. I hope that I would meet some dedicated and inspiring writers to settle the disruption in my gut. I hope that I would write, perhaps about something I cared about. My expectations did not extend beyond this utility, and I unpacked my bag with rocks in my hands and the weight of the world pressed against my chest. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Now, this work captures the lives of my LGBTQ peers beautifully. They talk about all of their ups and downs with lovers, with wives, with husbands, with family. They tell stories imagined about what would happen if I can give you a smidgen of some of these. Let me see. Epitaph is Lisa Galloway, and she's a poet, and Lisa Galloway wrote this opening stanza for her poem Epitaph. November 14th, home. The week before, I overheard she could keep her from heaven. Eyes now so sunken from morphine, half open, her pupils are little lichen-covered headstones. I didn't read Loving Mother of Lisa Renee. I saw sky, cloud work reconfiguring death as cumulative beasts of parent and child, a sun, glaring as an interrogation bulb, a lawn of tiny faceless children, their murmur, either hope or help. My mind humming, fumbling to find an answer, approximating tenderness. Dad tracing his fingers across her face, illuminating grave memory. This is Lisa capturing in this poem the voice of an LGBTQ child, adult child possibly, who is looking at a mother who is passing away. And she could keep her from heaven. Maybe her lover could keep her from heaven, possibly. But that's just beautiful. Let me find another one here. Kiki, Victor Vasquez. We bought milk and an orchid. Came back home to eat cereal. You lost it on the porch. Kissing my cheek, you said, you smell like a baby. You took your grocery bag so you could mourn. I waited, held the door. With my teeth, I tore the kiki from the mother plant and handed it to you. I said, bury it. We can watch this grow. Beautiful. Okay, just beautiful. The poets were amazing. Same as all of the writers, they were astoundingly beautiful. So let me skip around a little bit and find maybe not a poet, but let's find Morgan M. Page, Cruelty. So this is an excerpt from a longer work. There will be a poorly attended candlelight vigil, and into the night, party kids, nearly more glitter and hairspray than flesh, will disperse into smaller groups to gossip and to remember her. They will find themselves in bars, the same bars where they met her, and these bars that last night were magical, liminal spaces will now seem suddenly drab and mundane. Some will go back to dirty apartments, accessible only through alleys that stink of garbage, pouring out a last shot for her in front of their doors before locking out the rest of the world. A few will take a walk over to her apartment, where they'll linger outside smoking and trading war stories, staring up at what used to be her window until they finally get tired and leave. And just two will drive, as they have been all day and the day before that, and they won't quit until Toronto is just a bad dream. A beautiful piece about a transgender woman, a transgendered woman who met her in violently. I know because of the title, Cruelty. Somebody has to tell every story that we experience here, and our writers do just that. And Morgan M. Page is a powerful writer to capture that transgender experience. And the last sentence in this part is, this is just what death is for girls like her. Yes. Now, skipping around a little bit more in here, let's see what else. There's so many wonderful things in here. So many wonderful pieces. Hope Thompson, Sharp in the Dark. It's an excerpt from her longer work. Both are novelists, I'm sure. Sharp in the Dark excerpt. Private investigator Sydney Sharp was lucky with women. She attracted them fairly easily, but hanging on to them was another matter. Hi, Abe! Okay, guys, so I am going to read the first paragraph or the first stanza for one or two more of these writers, and then I'll read my own in another vlog. She attracted them fairly easily, but hanging on to them was another matter. This particular night, it was a blonde, early 20s and out of control. She had the scent of money about her, and it smelled good to Sharp. Her clothes were tailored, tight, and carefully casual. She wasn't a regular. She pressed herself against Sharp and whispered in her ear, pleading her case as if she had to. In the black-walled basement club, women moved through the shadows like caged lions. Their eyes lazily sized each other up. The tiny parquet dance floor was packed with bodies grinding together. The rotating mirrored disco ball showered stars of light around the room. It was Saturday night in 1984, and the place was thumping. But for Sharp and the blonde, it didn't matter. They had something else on their minds. Hope Thompson. Let me see. Let's see. Jeffrey Ricker. The Blizzard excerpt. Jeffrey is a novelist, and he, at least the last time I was aware of Jeffrey Ricker, he was in St. Louis. He was a St. Louis writer. By the time I pulled into my parents' driveway, I was almost an hour late. I fishtailed slowly down the snow-packed streets of their subdivision before narrowly missing my brother's 4x4 parked along the curb just beyond the mailbox. My car's rear slid left, the front slid right, and I coasted down the slope of the driveway and came to a stop before I banged into their garage door. We weren't sure you were going to make it, my mother said when she opened the front door. Neither was I. I shrugged out of my coat, and she hung it on the rack beside the door. It smelled like she was making pot roast, Dad's favorite. Mom smiled at me, a wan, curving facsimile that might as well have been a frown. She had dark circles under her eyes, and for some reason she pulled her hair back into a ponytail, which made her hairline severe and pulled her wrinkles wide instead of smooth, like they were canyoning. Everything okay? She must have realized her mask had slipped because she blinked a couple times and smiled a little wider, showing teeth. Company face. I was getting the expression she normally reserved for people she'd rather not deal with. Of course, honey. I'm just worried about the pot roast drying out. I've already dished some up for your dad and Dustin. But if you wanted any. Still a vegetarian, Mom? She nodded vigorously. Right, of course. So that's the beginning of, or that's a part of uh, Jeffrey Ricker's novel, The Blizzard. All right, I'm back, and I had dinner, talked to my son, and now I'm back to finish up this vlog and save my part of this anthology for its own vlog. Okay, this one is Lonely Chains, Notes on the Swimming Pool Library, and this is coming from David Weinstein. All right. David writes, I was born in 1988, the same year that I was born in 1988, the same year that Alan Hollinghurst published The Swimming Pool Library. 23 years later, I would fall hard for the narrator. William Beckwith, blonde hair and blue blood, the wayward heir to a British Viscount. To this day, he is my tour guide through gay life in 1983 London, where, as now, happiness can depend on a glance of a stranger. Where, as now, happiness can depend on the glance of a stranger, caught and returned. Independently wealthy at 25, Will doesn't work and thrives instead on men who meet him at parks, in the dark of theaters, and in the Corinthian, Corey for short. The athletic club, whose very walls, classical at a glance, homosexual parodies, when inspected close, shelter the longings of men inside. Will and I share a taste for nostalgia. Like me, he prefers the swollen sentimentalism of Mailer to an inane pop song, lonely and pleading in a nightclub. He studied history at Oxford, whereas I attended Yale, whose roof tiles were buried 3 times underground to pretend the history of a place like Oxford. When the past is unattainable, I, too, try to recreate it, like a scummy roof tile or those clumsy inspectors of classicism at the quarry. Will becomes my mold, a family lineage as long as Britain's, the confidence that comes with unceasing luxury, the kind of button nose that seduces any man, if not his loyalty. Even as I envy Will, growing in me is a despairing desire for him. So beautiful. If nothing else, be still. And this is by Ricardo Hernandez. If nothing else, be still. This morning, we both know how these things end. Tumblers rinsed, cigarettes flushed, the refuge. Dismantled, remember the altar you raised, on my back, the offerings you made, oily meats, sweet bread, dipped in wine. How it felt to bite and praise these, each skin breaking, releasing its juice on your lip and chin, leaving behind a sharp, dark trail down your chest. I see it more and more clearly in the looming light. I see it more and more clearly in the looming light. Pretend you don't have to slip your ring back on your finger and I could stay here if you want me to. And you always want me to. So you might discover new uses for the useless parts of me, because if nothing else, by now, you've seen what lies beside you is not a body, but a stack of new wood, young, freshly quartered. And if nothing else, maybe you could build a home with it. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Regina Jameson, a very beautiful person and a lovely friend of mine in New York. Regina Jameson's Lurleen. I love this piece, and I hope she gets her novel published soon. And I do hope this piece is finished. 4 years should be long enough for her to have finished this piece. Perhaps I'll call her or text her tomorrow to see before I read my pieces. Chapter 1. The cigarette was perched on my lip, angled like a humble peacock's tail, the glowing orange circle at its tip, and I exhaled, and smoke swirled and dipped into the breeze. We were sitting on the roof of a house I had been scouting for weeks, our feet pressed to bumping against the pristine tiles to counteract the slant. Lurleen sat beside me with her mouth hung open, catching flies, as the folks in Mississippi would say. Lurleen shifted her hips to the right, and her feet slid. I quickly leaned over to grab the tail end of her shirt, but she pulled away, stood up, leaned into the motion, and careened off the side of the roof. She spread her arms out like the horizontal bar of a kite caught in a breeze. A few seconds later, I heard it. Splash! Hot damn! Lurleen hooped. It was a good thing the house was basically in the middle of nowhere, 'cause Lurleen has a big mouth. I heard her splashing around from where I sat. The sun was hot on my head, and my cigarette was nearly gone. Come on down here now, Smitty. It's your turn. I had dared Lurleen, said she wouldn't jump off this here roof, but as usual, she done it. And that's how she is. Ask her to do any crazy damn thing, and eventually she'll do it. We've been coming to this house and sitting on this roof every day now for a week, when finally Lurleen said she'd do it on Sunday, the day of the Lord. Not that she's religious or nothing, but she said, and I quote, just in case. Well, today is Sunday, and Lurleen done careened off the roof. I like that word, careened. I'm working on improving my vocabulary, because I think people respect you when you can rattle off a few grade A words. I never finished high school, but I figure folks don't have to know that, especially if I build up my vocabulary. So careened is my word for today. Lurleen gets mad because she says she don't know what I'm talking about half the time. So now I have a big chart on the wall with all of the words I've studied on it. It's big, but it ain't nearly filled, so Lurleen can study right along with me if she wants. But I know she don't. She just likes to complain. Smitty, get your narrow behind down here, girl. You missing all this beautiful chlorine. We've been coming here for a week, but we only got as far as the roof. We ain't never been in the house or the pool on account of Lurleen's promise to jump off the roof first. Once she done that, we'd be free to roam. I flicked my cigarette butt to the side and watched as it slowly tumbled to the roof's edge. I stood up slowly. There wasn't no breeze, so nothing was pushing against me. I looked out over the edge onto an enormous swatch of green that hugged a slight border of blue, and thought briefly about buying a house for me and Lurleen someday. A 2 or 3 story fairy tale house with a large pool like the one Lurleen jumped into in the backyard. Smitty! Lurleen, God bless her, act like she don't know nothing about privacy and keeping quiet. Like I said, this house is basically in the middle of nowhere, but sometimes nowhere can be found. I'm coming, damn it! Stop all of that yelling! Well, get your ass down here then. I crouched down, then sprang up like a bobblehead and jumped into the air. I spread my arms out like Lurleen did and felt the warm air cradle me before letting me fall. And I wish I could read all 6 to you. It is absolutely delicious. Absolutely delicious. But you'll just have to wait until perhaps I revisit Gaslight to read a little bit more. But I love that anthology. Now, yes, you've got tomorrow night or tomorrow afternoon or tomorrow morning when I read my chapters. And once I read my chapters, I'll go back and read a little bit more of Lurleen, since I love it so. Oh my goodness, I love that Lurleen. That's my Kindle. I love it. So at this point, I've got 2 people to call back, and this vlog to edit and post, and the kitchen to clean, and my face to clean of this makeup, my hair to put up, and I am in bed for another blessed, delightful day. I love you guys. Thank you so much for being with me in this vlog. Besitos y abracitos a todo el mundo. Bye.